of the joys about being a pastor for 33 years in the same congregation is that you get to... where's Mom and Dad? I married you guys, right? How many years ago? Can't remember? No, I didn't. Right. I married Daryl and baptized these two guys, right? And confirmed them, and now I'm doing a baptism. I married you too also, right? Right. I can't remember everybody that I married, but it's great that you're still together. That's awesome. Yeah, and when you look out at this family, but every family, you realize how many things that you've gone through over these 33 years. And this is one of those times that we rejoice. But there are other times where there's pain and suffering and sadness. But the constant thing is our faith. It's our community. It's the presence of God. And that's what we have to lift up. I'm writing my pastor's report. I don't have it done yet, but don't tell Barbara that. She shakes her head. It'll be done tomorrow, okay? Anyway, I'm talking about a new phenomenon. They call it the end of Christendom, or post-Christendom. And that's kind of what we're in right now. And if you don't know that, I'll explain it to you. You know, 50, 60 years ago, 70, 80 years ago, when we were all much younger, everybody went to church. Everybody was connected to a church. They may not have gone every Sunday, but everybody was involved in churches. Now people who are active in a congregation in Canada, I think it's about 29%. It's probably even less than that. And if you think the numbers are going to go up, they will not go up. So how does the church survive in a post-Christendom era? That's the question. And how we figure that out, it's left to the leaders of the churches to try to figure that out. But we have to believe that there is still a place for the church. There is an absolute place for our faith. There's a place for us to gather together in faith. And you know what? Today we celebrate together this baptism. But when we're together, we carry the aches and pains and the heartaches and the sadness of all the people here. And some days our hearts are filled with joy, and sometimes they're filled with sadness. But we expect and we hope and pray that the people surrounding us will lift us up in prayer when we need those prayers. And that's what a community of faith is. And things are changing. They're changing very quickly. But I still believe in what it is we're doing here. And faith is such a strong part of my life. And I know anybody who gets up today and comes to church, faith means an awful lot to you. That's awesome. Today we have the story. And when you read the gospel, the choir members, what did you think about? The song we sang, I've been singing it all week long. Behold the Lamb of God, who takes our sin away. We sang that last Sunday, and it talks about the baptism. And this is the story of John the Baptist who sees Jesus coming. And he says, behold the Lamb of God. And maybe that was the first time that Jesus heard that expression, Agnus Dei. Okay, we had that in our liturgy for years. Lamb of God. That's what those words mean. Lamb of God. Was that the first time Jesus heard it? And he said it twice in the gospel reading. And did he hear it every day following that? Behold the Lamb of God. And did this not help Jesus in his ministry? This is where he began his ministry. And did it not affect him in a powerful way when people began to say, look, there is the Lamb of God. I'm not going to lift him out of your arms because he's just sawing logs here. But everybody sees it today, don't they? Don't they see the Lamb of God in Henry? And he's such a perfect kid. Has he ever cried? Has he ever caused problems? No, of course not. Okay, but when does it change? Okay? This is true of all the babies that we baptize. Oh, they're so cute, they're so perfect, they're so awesome and amazing. And we can say, every day, this is the Lamb of God. We are so grateful to have this in our lives. But when does it change? At what age does it change? What are the behaviors that happen that change our opinions about the cute little babies? It happens. It happens to all of us. And sometimes it happens when we aren't the people that our parents or our family hoped that we would be. Okay? And the behaviors aren't what we hoped they would be. Maybe when they get to school, the academics aren't what we hoped they would be. How many times in the athletic field do we see parents who are so frustrated because they realize their kids aren't what we hoped they would be? And then disappointment sets in. And children feel the disappointment, and they live with that disappointment. Married to a school teacher, but I know dozens of school teachers, and it seems almost every year there's one or two children in the classroom that are the difficult ones, right? Maybe you were that person, I don't know. And it's difficult. It's very challenging. It's very difficult. When a person comes in with behavioral problems and issues, it's hard to every morning say, "Behold the Lamb of God. Behold the Lamb of God." You probably want to say a lot of words, but it's not the Lamb of God that you want to sing. But how does it happen in the school systems when children receive reputations, and every teacher knows, every teacher can see, and we keep thinking and saying the words about the difficult child, the difficult problems? And does this stay with the child for their whole lives? Does it stay with us our whole lives? I was talking with somebody not too long ago, not from our congregation, who's struggling with issues in his 40s. And the first thing I asked is, "Tell me your childhood." And he said, "I didn't have one difficult parent. I had two difficult parents. And I have two difficult parents who are still alive today." And I said, if I could write a book, that's the book I would write. How do we deal with difficult parents? The way to deal with them is to try to understand why they are difficult. People don't wake up in the morning and say, "I'm going to be as difficult as I possibly can." They aren't even aware that they are doing it. But they see the reactions of other people, and they are shocked by the reactions other people are giving to them. And I'm sure children are often shocked. Why are people so upset with me? Why do people not like me? Why do my fellow classmates not like me, and they push me away? It's a challenge for us to try to understand why difficult people are difficult. But if you think they're doing it deliberately, you are mistaken. If you think they know they are doing it, you are mistaken. Can we say these words to everybody? Can we somehow find a way to say to the most difficult person in our life, "Behold the Lamb of God"? All of us are God's children. All of us are children of God. All of us are lambs of God. And maybe it has been a corporate effort to make people the difficult ones in our world today. Part of our Christian walk is a challenge. And it's not to be like everybody else. It's not to judge like everybody else's judges. It's to see the Lamb of God in every person. And the more difficult, the more challenging it is, but that is our calling. The Lamb of God.